about to go live, yes, sir.
Oh, this is going to be the YouTube live stream?
They should have the link.
So he's not. My perception is the wing was asking just of you. Yeah.
You're really going to talk.
Awesome. Okay, awesome. Awesome, that's great. Do we know if is Colonel Messer going to be there? Okay. Okay. No worries. Easy. That's helpful. Thank you, man. Yes, ma'am. I'm going to put it right in the same spot. On my phone, so barring any craziness.
Yeah, we'll stream from
Yeah, we're gonna kind of get one swing at this. So, and I will, if you're good with it, I'll just kind of bring the sound down on your end. Unless you just want to go mute. Okay, yeah, perfect. I'll just keep you. How's that for you? So the two chairs are. What's that?
I can't hear you. Swat, I just wasn't sure if you were talking to me or not, man. I could not hear you.
No, sir. Talking to Ms. Michelle. She's on Zoom, same spot as last time.
Oh, okay.
Yep. She also has the YouTube link. So.
Yes. That's Colonel Cron. That's Colonel Cron. He's down in Egmont right now.
How are you doing so far?
Hello. You should have hung. I would have picked that up.
Yeah, normally there's a lot. Anybody else?
Hey, SWAT.
Sir.
Or, so who is the administrator right now on Teams? Yeah.
It's going to be, it'll be Sergeant Bradford or Josh Dolatina.
Okay, so if you guys can navigate that, we've got, I think, a handful of folks going to dial in via Teams. So if you can allow them to enter.
Oh, okay,
that's fine. We take care
it's not
of
a private group, right?
No, anybody can join it actually.
Okay, perfect.
So if they join it on our end, we can make sure they're muted and everything.
Perfect. Okay, yep, we'll battle manage as they dial in.
All right.
I'll
We're ready on this end.
manage from my desk. Make sure I get that. Yeah.
I'll make this one. Roger, sir. Just doing it live.
Ladies and gentlemen, please find your seats. The ceremony will begin in a moment. We ask that everyone please silence your cell phones and electronic devices at this time. Thank you. morning. On behalf of the 53rd Test Management Group, welcome to Barksdale Air Force Base and the 49th Test and Evaluation Squadron and Detachment 1, 53rd Test Management Group Change of Command Ceremony. I am Second Lieutenant Rene Velasquez, and I will be your narrator for today's ceremony. Throughout the ceremony, you will be given cues to stand or be seated at the appropriate times. As a reminder, during the National Anthem, military members should stand at attention and civilian guests should place their right hand over their heart. The presiding official of today's ceremony is the commander, 53rd Test Management Group, Colonel Gregory Frana. He will transfer command of the 49th Test and Evaluation Squadron and Detachment 1, 53rd Test Management Group from Lieutenant Colonel Joseph O. Little to Lieutenant Colonel Matthew W. Guasco. The change of command is an official, formal, and brief ceremony deeply rooted in military tradition. The primary purpose of a change of command is to allow subordinates the opportunity to witness the formality of command change from one officer to another. The ceremony itself is simple and direct. The guidance changes represent the transfer of responsibility, authority, and accountability for the mission, airmen, and families of the squadron and detachment. The COVID-19 virus presents us with unique challenges, but our goal is to continue the change of command tradition while recognizing the constraints of the world we are now operating in. We extend a warm welcome to Lieutenant Colonel Little's family, wife, Laura, their sons, Noah and Seth. We also welcome Lieutenant Colonel Guasco's family, wife, Jessica, their son, Mac. Finally, we welcome all commanders, directors, squadron commanders, honorary commanders, chiefs, spouses, friends, and members of the 49th Test and Detachment 1, Team Barksdale, our community partners, and everyone joining us on all social media platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the entrance of the official party, the playing of the National Anthem, and the invocation by Lieutenant Colonel Retired Samuel L. McKenzie.
Good morning. If it is your tradition, would you bow your head with me in prayer? Almighty God, I pray this morning for the men and women of the 49th Test and Evaluation Squadron. Unite them as one in spirit of service and camaraderie. Sustain them in their good work. As we transfer responsibility in this ceremony, I especially lift up the two commanders. Bless them both. Go with Lieutenant Colonel Little as he and his family transitions to their next assignment. Let their new place of service be a blessing to them in every way. And be with Lieutenant Colonel Guasco as he assumes command of the Wolfpack. We pray your Holy Spirit will be with him as he wrestles with the hard decisions of command. Endow him with every grace of leadership that he will need. Watch over him, Jessica, Mac, and the one on the way, through all the times of trial and victory. Grant him and his people success in every good endeavor, so that their mission might be accomplished as they work to advance the Mighty Buff's capability. Amen.
Thank you, Colonel McKenzie. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. The Commander, 53rd Test Management Group, Colonel Frana.
All right, thank you. Thanks to all the distinguished guests, Chief Aptekar, Chief Wheeler, Commanders, Chiefs, members of the Wolf Pack, family and friends. Thanks for your support of the 49th Test and Evaluation Squadron and your support of these two officers today. To everybody that's joined us via YouTube or Teams or whatever social media platform you're on, thanks for your flexibility as we navigate this incredibly challenging time in our nation and for the world. Poacher, appreciate your words of inspiration and your lifting up of the two officers that we have on stage today. Lieutenant Velasquez, keep up the great work. So far, so good. There's a lot of work left as the narrator, but like I said, so far so good. Keep it up. To the 53rd Wing and to the 2nd Bomb Wing Protocol, thanks for making this ceremony special and allowing us to appropriately honor these two great Air Force officers. To Lieutenant Colonel Littles and Lieutenant Colonel Guasco's families in the room or joining us virtually, thank you for your support. I'm sorry we weren't able to conduct this ceremony in person for all of you, but thanks for joining and to help to make this a special occasion. So Laura, Noah, and Seth, thank you for your service and your sacrifices that you make as an Air Force family. I know there's another move on the horizon for you guys, and I know the stress that can place on a family, particularly during a global pandemic. I also know there have been some significant stressors in your life over the past few months, from trapping squirrels and having to be displaced from your house, to dealing with an air-launched cruise missile evaluation that didn't go exactly as planned, and to having your assignment changed at the last minute. You guys are troopers. Thanks a ton for rolling with the punches. I'm certain that the beaches of Northwest Florida will be good for your soul. And thanks for all of the support that you've given your husband and your dad as he continues to serve this nation. To Jessica, to Mac, and to the one on the way, as referred to earlier from Poacher, thank you for your support and your service. Jessica, Matt is about to take on an incredible responsibility, one that I know you're well aware of from your time on active duty as well. But it's an incredible responsibility, and it's an incredible opportunity. It's going to take a ton of hard work. It'll probably take a few late nights, probably a couple of missed dinners, some time on the road, but I have no doubt that you and your family will always be his top priority. For family and friends taking the time to be a part of this ceremony, I know it means a lot to these guys, and it's truly your love and support that has enabled their success. To the members of the 49th Test and Evaluation Squadron, to the Wolf Pack, you're part of an incredible team. A team that is being called on to, in the words of General Ray, enable our bomber fleet relevance through 2050. As you know, this is a huge task. The future of the B-52 lies on the shoulders of the 49th Test and Evaluation Squadron and the test teams across the Bomber CTF and our Air Force Operational Test and Evaluation Center partners at Apotech. We are the ones responsibility for the lethality, survivability, and effectiveness of one of our nation's most strategic assets. The B-52 and your efforts play a critical role in the defense of this nation, and it comes at an incredibly important time. Our national defense strategy describes this time in our nation's history as a, quote, complex security environment that is defined by rapid technological change and challenges from adversaries in every operating domain. As this security environment becomes more and more complex, the B-52 and its conventional and nuclear capabilities are absolutely critical. As our nation's adversaries look to gain a competitive advantage in any operating domain, the B-52 ensures global reach and deters war. A more lethal, survivable, and effective B-52 ensures an American competitive advantage. In order to maintain and sustain this advantage, we must modernize and recapitalize our bomber fleet. And as all of you know, the Air Force has begun multiple programs to ensure the lethality and survivability of the B-52 through 2050, including the Commercial Engine Replacement Program, the Radar Modernization Program, and the Long Range Standoff Weapon Program, all of which require intimate involvement from the Wolfpack to ensure effectiveness in an operationally realistic environment. And throughout the past 2 years, Little Joe and Laura have ensured that the 49th Test and Evaluation Squadron successfully executed the mission of operational test, cared for the airmen and the spouses of the squadron, and fostered a culture of teamwork. You're going to hear in more detail as we read the Meritorious Service Medal citation about how Team Little executed the mission of the 49th Test and Evaluation Squadron. And many of you know the details behind what the 49th does with respect to Nuke Wessup, but some of you in the audience may not quite understand how far-reaching the impact the work that the 49th and the Wolfpack does. So Nuke Wessup is a nuclear weapons system evaluation. And that's exactly what it sounds like. It's an evaluation of our nation's stockpile of nuclear weapons. And throughout this evaluation process, the 49th determines the probability of a nuclear weapon achieving its weapons effects. They evaluate it from what we call stockpile to target, from initial buildup to loading to launching to impact. And as you might imagine, leaders at very high levels are interested in the results. In addition to successfully conducting these evaluations and briefing these results to the Chief of Staff of the Air Force, Lieutenant Colonel Little championed an effort to ensure that this data was collected in an operationally realistic and relevant environment. Additionally, during his time, the 49th fielded a bay modification that allowed for a 67% increase in long-range and GPS-guided weapons carriage. They synced test processes across developmental and operational test, ensuring streamlined processes and rapid delivery to our nation's warfighters, and also shaped requirements for future hypersonic weapons. Our nation's national defense strategy lays out our Department of Defense lines of effort, and first and foremost is to build a more lethal force. As the commander of the 49th, you have clearly executed that mission and ensured a more lethal B-52. But not only did Lieutenant Colonel Little execute the mission, he and Laura went above and beyond to care for the airmen and the families of the entire Wolfpack team. As a geographically separated unit, it's sometimes difficult to determine the morale and welfare of units hundreds of miles away. So in order to help commanders better understand how the people of the organization feel, we send out anonymous surveys to see and to solicit feedback from members of the organization. Those in the military know them as a DOCS, right? It's a Defense Organizational Climate Survey. And in that survey, we ask questions like, do the leaders of my command show a real interest in the welfare of families? Do you trust your leadership to handle problems or issues seriously? And is the current level of morale high? For those of you in the 49th, you likely know how those results turned out. But for those of you who are not, the responses to those specific questions were either 98 or 100% agree or strongly agree, which is unprecedented in a survey like that. But more than just survey results, a few days ago I received a letter from one of the members of the 49th detailing how the entire Wolfpack team came together to help her in a time of need. After losing her grandson to a tragic car accident, and then shortly after finding herself the victim of another tragedy when half of her home was destroyed by a tornado, Obviously, this Wolfpack member was devastated, but in true Wolfpack fashion, the 49th Test and Evaluation Squadron jumped into action. And Stephanie expressed to me how thankful she was of the support that she received from Little Joe, Laura, and the entire 49th team. Little Joe, dude, that is what command is all about. It's about caring. It's about bringing people together to execute a mission and ensure that we have each other's backs. Little Joe, Laura, Wolfpack, you are an impressive team. Congrats on a job incredibly well done. We're looking forward to having you guys down here at Eglin. Thankfully, the Wolfpack is in great hands. SWAT, Matt, Doctor, or Lieutenant Colonel Blasco, depending on how you know him, is the perfect officer to take over command of the Wolfpack. He has an impressive record of achieving excellence in everything that he does. He's been a distinguished graduate, which is the top 10% in military terms, in both ROTC and Air Command and Staff College. He was recognized as the #1 of 64 company grade officers, the #1 of 74 company grade officers, the #1 of 295 company grade officers, hand-selected to instruct at the weapons school. He's a graduate of the prestigious Marine Corps School of Advanced Warfighting as only one of 2 hand-picked U.S. officers in a 26-person class. He's been recognized as #1 of 22 majors, and he's currently the #1 lieutenant colonel in the group that is not currently a commander or a graduated commander. And he's truly a student of leadership, or actually, maybe more accurately, a professor, a doctor of leadership. SWAT, Doctor, you will be an outstanding commander. I know that you and Jessica will make up an incredible command team, and I look forward to continuing to see the Wolfpack thrive under your leadership. Continue to execute the mission, care for our airmen, and foster a culture of teamwork. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Frana. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as the citation of the Meritorious Service Medal to Lieutenant Colonel Little is read. Attention to orders. The Meritorious Service Medal, 2nd Oak Leaf Cluster, to Lieutenant Colonel Joseph O. Little for meritorious service 2 April 2017 to 18 June 2020. Lieutenant Colonel Joseph O. Little distinguished himself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Commander, 49th Test and Evaluation Squadron, 53rd Test Management Group, 53rd Wing, Barksdale Air Force Base, Louisiana. During this time, Colonel Little served as Director of Operations and was responsible for the execution of the $50 million Nuclear Weapon System Evaluation Program, the Chief of Staff of the Air Force's #1 test priority. Colonel Little's leadership enabled evaluation of 15 air-launched cruise missiles, validating combatant commander operations plans and assuring the United States nuclear capability and readiness. As commander, Colonel Little drove the $165 million B-52 Bay modernization effort, enabling internal carriage of the Joint Air-to-Surface Standoff Missile and Joint Direct Attack Munition, which resulted in a 67% increase in weapon capability for the B-52. Additionally, Colonel Little's leadership was crucial in developing an integrated electronic warfare test strategy, synchronizing 8 different programs worth $22 million and ensuring survivability of the B-52 for the next 20 years. Finally, Colonel Little's expertise in nuclear operations was critical to the United States' $7.6 billion nuclear modernization effort, leading coordination of 3 North Atlantic Treaty Organization partners to conduct 8 B-61 test releases, ensuring success of a critical national defense priority. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Colonel Little reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. gentlemen, please be seated. Now the commander of the 49th Test and Evaluation Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Little, will make some remarks.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Colonel Frana. I can't tell you what an honor it's been to command this spectacular unit. I'm truly humbled to have had this privilege over the past 2 years. There are a lot of people here to thank today. It's a unique environment in the fact that we're doing this virtually. So I'm going to try to get to everybody that is not only here but is also watching. But I'd like to first start out by thanking my family for the sacrifice that they've been my time in command. Although it's been an amazing experience for me, and I hope my family as well, I hope that the squadron, we don't have to forget that our family is behind the scenes rooting us on. I did the math while I was in command and found out that I was TDY for 211 days out of the past 2 years that I was in command. Some of that was at a month or more at a time. I'd like to especially thank my wife Laura for going out of her way to make sacrifices in order to ensure I have the time to devote to this job. Making sure that my 2 sons, Noah and Seth, are as behaved as they're going to be at this one moment. A lot has changed in the 3 years that we've been at Barksdale. We showed up with 2 toddlers in diapers and are leaving with 2 boys that have a great outlook on life as they see it, and potentially some future jail time for the youngest. Kidding. Hopefully, boys, you are the highlight of my day every day. You certainly keep us on our toes, but I wouldn't have it any other way, so thank you for being who you are. Next, I'd like to take some time to thank the DVs, albeit they are not in the room, but I know that in this ceremony we have some people that are virtual. Chief Aptekar, thank you very much for being on the VTC. I really do appreciate all your enlisted insight that you have provided me. To all the colonels that are out there, I appreciate it. Chief, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And then also for my family that is watching virtually, thank you for doing what you've done and helping raise me. I wouldn't be where I'm standing right now without you. If I missed you, oh, Poacher, thank you very much, man. It's great to see you again for your invocation. It's always great to come across old friends in these kind of environments. And then finally, SWAT. Dude, thank you for being my right-hand man this past year and assisting me in getting after what I held near and dear from a mission perspective. You and Jess have been steadfast friends of mine for over 10 years. It brings me great personal satisfaction to hand this guide on, steeped in military prestige and honor, over to you in just a few minutes. The good thing is I won't be very far and look forward to the opportunity to still be able to work with you closely. The squadron is yours. Do not let anything come between you and what you wish to do with it. I know you're going to do great. Just remember, go home. Now to the men and women of the 49th Test Evaluation Squadron, the Wolf Pack. We have spent the last 2 years as me as the commander. I had 2 major goals when I took command of the squadron. The first was to modernize Combat Sledgehammer, or Nuke Wessa. It was an evaluation program that had not changed all that much since its inception in the late 1970s. The steadfast work and dedication the nuclear professionals in the squadron performed in order to make this a reality was tremendous. This was an effort which, in order to effect change, had to be briefed at the MAJCOM Commander and Chief of Staff of the Air Force level. We, as a team, have successfully pulled this off. Although we are still working on lessons learned on a way forward in terms of execution, the path has been cleared in order to provide the United States Strategic Command a more thorough and honest look at our nation's airborne nuclear weapons systems. The 49th has proven so good at this that we even assist the fighter platforms with dual-capable aircraft WESA and the B-61 Modification 12. Furthermore, the 49th test is on the tip of the spear when it comes to modernizing the B-52. General Ray has stated in the Air Force Global Strike Command Bomber Roadmap, as well as Colonel Frana, that is the B-52 staying in service through 2050. There are a multitude of upgrades the 49th test will be directly involved in over the next 2 years. New engines and modern radar and all the capabilities that go with that. The long-range standoff missile, Link 16, hypersonics, major software upgrades, and the list just keeps going. There are other B-52 units out there, but this one is unique. The 49th Test and Evaluation Squadron has experienced firsthand the arrival of some of these programs. Gone are the days when the 49th was a sleepy hollow that worked nuke WESA, a software upgrade, and maybe a weapon from time to time. It is what you guys do every day that makes this mission happen and the modernization possible. I'm truly humbled and honored to have the opportunity to serve alongside you. Ceremonies like this are difficult to plan and execute. Lieutenant Velasquez, thank you very much. Posher, thank you again. It's Miss Janice and Michelle, thank you very much from protocol to make this ceremony possible. A round of applause for them all, please. Colonel Frana, thanks again for the opportunity. Laura and I want to wish you, Tony, and the girls the best as your retirement approaches. Hopefully I'll see you in the next several weeks. While UPS Airbuses and Boeing 7 whatevers may not be as exciting as F-35s, I know you'll have a great time. Looking forward to see you here in just a few weeks. Thank you all for being here. SWAT, it's all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Little. On behalf of the men and women of the 49th Test and Evaluation Squadron and Detachment 1, I would like to thank Mrs. Laura Little for her support and outstanding service to the men and women of the Squadron, the Detachment, and Team Barksdale. We extend our best wishes to the Little family as they depart for new adventures in Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for Detachment 1, 53rd Test Management Group, Change of Command. The guidon bearer is Master Sergeant Joshua Harville.
Publish the order.
Attention to orders. Department of the Air Force, Headquarters, 53rd Test Management Group, Eglin Air Force Base, Florida. Special Order Number, Golf 015. Lieutenant Colonel Matthew Guasco assumes command of Detachment 1, 53rd Test Management Group from Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Little, effective 2 July 2020. Signed, Gregory G. Frana, Colonel, United States Air Force, Commander, 53rd Test Management Group.
Sir, I relinquish command.
Great job. Thanks. Congratulations.
Sir, I assume command.
Congrats, SWAT.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the change of command for the 49th Test and Evaluation Squadron. The guidon bearer is Senior Master Sergeant John Rum.
Publish the order.
Attention to orders. Department of the Air Force, Headquarters, 53rd Test Management Group, Eglin Air Force Base, Florida. Special Order Number, Golf 014. Lieutenant Colonel Matthew Guasco assumes command of the 49th Test and Evaluation Squadron from Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Little, effective 2 July 2020. Signed, Gregory G. Frana, Colonel, United States Air Force, Commander, 53rd Test Management Group.
Sir, I relinquish command.
Great job, little Joe. See you soon.
Sir.
Sir, I assume command.
Congratulations, SWAT. The Wolfpack is in great hands.
Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is my honor to present the Commander, 49th Test and Evaluation Squadron, and Detachment 1, 53rd Test Management Group, Lieutenant Colonel Matthew Blasco.
Thank you, Dada.
Wow. This is humbling. Colonel Frana, thank you for your kind words and your confidence in me to lead this squadron into the future. As always with these things, you write them down prior to actually hearing what anyone has to say. But sir, seriously, thank you for your comments. They were humbling. And again, your confidence in me to lead this squadron into the future is awesome. So thank you, sir. Chief Aptekar, Chief Wheeler, thank you for your leadership this past year as I've been with the 53rd Wing, especially through these troubling times. Watching you two take lead on many of these difficult conversations has been absolutely inspiring. So I thank you. Poacher, thank you for that wonderful invocation. More importantly, thank you for your friendship through these years. Having you and Caroline here is truly an honor, so thank you so much. I would like to thank the team that made this come together. Lieutenant Velasquez, thank you for kind of spearheading it, and the team that I know surrounded you to do multiple venues, multiple editions, multiple tries to get here. Obviously, to protocols across both wings, thank you for providing that assistance and stepping up and flexing with us. Lastly, to PA, absolute not least, my sister-in-law is PA at Virginia, and I would be remiss if I did not thank you for what I know you do day in and day out, so thank you. Sergeant Oliver, thanks for getting my name on a jet finally. It only took 16 years. Jill, I appreciate more than words this last year as your understudy. Thank you for your mentorship, for your guidance, and your wisdom. But more importantly, thank you for setting this squadron up on an unparalleled vector. To my mentors, fellow squadron commanders, DOs, crew dogs that are all dialed in today, thank you for taking the time out of your day to join this event. I truly would not be here without you, and I mean that, so thank you. I'd also like to acknowledge those who were unable to attend due to the COVID pandemic, especially my mom and dad. You know, for parents who have never missed a single event in my life, to include all 4 years of high school football where I rode the bench, this has been difficult. I've had to have some difficult conversations with people I love, but ultimately they made the right choice. Mom, Dad, thank you for shaping me into the man I am today. To my in-laws, Don, Kathy, Sarah, Katie, Popo, Grammy, thank you for being one of the greatest additions to my family. Lastly, to my wife, Jay, my son, Mac, and the unknown that we're about to find out here in September. That's you, man. You guys have made me realize my true purpose in life. There are no words that I can say today or any other day that will describe what you mean to me, but I am very excited to start this next chapter in multiple facets. So thank you for always being here. You know, 16 years ago to the day I joined the Air Force, literally to the day, it's ironic, with a dream of becoming a pilot. That was all I wanted to do. If someone had told me back then that on this day I would be taking over the world-famous 49th Test and Evaluation Squadron through perhaps its most crucial years as we redefine the B-52, I would have straight laughed in their face. But if I'm being honest, prior to my year here, I had a hard time describing the role of the 49th Test. If op squadrons are the tip of the spear, what exactly does that make us? after a year of observation, I realized that we are in fact the fire and the forge that softens that steel. We are the hammer that shapes it. If it wasn't for the 49th test, there would be no spear. It's our job to make that steel as strong and that steel as sharp as possible, so that when we meet our enemies on the battlefield, which we will, there will be no question as to the victor. Make no mistake, the same aircraft that are on this ramp will be in that fight as they have for generations. And it's our job to ensure victory, and that is a task that I as your commander do not take lightly. To the men and women, active duty, GS employees, contractors of the 49th, to the Wolfpack, welcome to my family. I am both humbled and honored to be your commander, and my promise to you is that I will serve with empathy, courage, vision, decency, and candor. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Guasco. On behalf of the men and women of the squadron and detachment, we would like to welcome Colonel Guasco's family, Jessica and Matt, to our squadron and detachment family. This concludes today's ceremony. Please stand for the playing of the Air Force song and the departure of the official party and family. Please remain standing in place until the official party and family have exited. We regret we will not host a reception, but please join us in the unveiling of Colonel Guasco's aircraft behind the squadron on the flight line. Thank you for attending today's change of command ceremony. Please observe the social distancing rule while exiting, and have a great Air Force Day.
Don't knock that over. Don't knock that over.
Thank you all for coming. Again, please make sure you observe the social distancing rule while exiting. And we will be meeting out in front or in back to see Colonel Guasco unveil his aircraft. Thank you.